Take them or leave them, but by 2020, the millennials will make up a third of all adults in the United States.
You may know one, millennials lacking life skills like cooking, budgeting, or time management.
They're not interested in owning a house.
Many millennials say buying a home these days is just not an option.
She is calling millennials the burnout generation.
According to a new study, millennials say that the term snowflake is in fact harmful to their mental health.
Millennials hate this shit. They hate it.
Welcome to the very first episode of Millennial Malarkey. My name is Adam.
I'm Alec.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Jesse.
How are we doing, boys?
All right.
Very first episode, right?
Andrew, how are you feeling today?
I am feeling, you know what? In general, okay. I broke my toe like 2 days ago, and I went to the brain doctor today. Turns out I might be narcoleptic, so that's pretty fun. But other than that, I'm doing all right. Why do you ask?
Well, I asked because it's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, it is my birthday. I'm also 1 year closer to death. Thank you.
Happy birthday, boy. Wait a second. When you broke your toe, you went to a brain doctor.
No, that was for a separate issue. And just in general, my body's breaking down.
Well, I mean, once you turn 23, you know, nobody likes you anymore, according to the song. Nobody likes you when you're 23. And then in 24, your dreams go out the door. So, yeah, life pretty much shuts down.
Yeah, apparently. Thank you.
Anyway, let's get into the meat of this episode. So for our pilot episode, we'll just go over an overview of our podcast. You know who we are and what we bring to the podcast. So we'll start with our first question. Who are you? What's your story? I'll go ahead and start. So my name's Adam. I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia. We moved my family.
Wait, is that like as opposed to like Virginia Beach,
Wyoming?
Oregon?
Wait, what'd you say?
Oregon.
Oh, I was hoping we went on the same state, but we didn't.
Not quite.
We're not in sync yet. Give it time.
I think technically we lived in Norfolk, but Virginia Beach is way cooler to say than Norfolk. So I lived at the beach basically. Anyway, so when I was 10 years old, my dad, the Ford plant shut down. My dad works for Ford, and so we moved out to Kansas City. That's where I met you guys. So we went to high school together. Then we went all our separate ways. I went to Creighton University. I pursued a degree in biology, and then right after I did a post-bac master's program at BAC in Virginia for a contemporary human anatomy master's degree. And now I'm here, graduated, doing absolutely nothing with my master's degree.
Nice.
I know, right?
Yeah, and Andrew, you kind of got a similar story about moving to Kansas City, right?
Yeah, and also doing nothing with my degrees. I moved around a lot when I was really little, but I lived in Virginia for 7 years and never ran into Adam there, unfortunately.
Well, you lived in Richmond, right?
I lived in Newport News for 3 years, and then, moved to Richmond for 4.
Right.
And then after there, went to Cleveland for a year, and then from there went to Kansas City. And then, met y'all in marching band and stuff in high school, and from there went to University of Michigan, got a triple major in astrophysics, applied physics, and economics, took the LSAT to gear up for law school, and then decided to move to Nashville and try to be a rock star. So currently chasing that dream
Jack
right
of
now.
all trades.
But yeah, it just kind of works out that Andrew is back in Kansas City right now with me so that we can record, like sitting next to each other like real friends, which is nice.
And record together and maybe do a few other things.
Wait, who's friends?
What's that?
Who's friends?
Me and Andrew?
Apparently we're not friends with them, Adam, because we're not in Kansas City recording this with them.
Oh, okay.
I think that would be an accurate statement.
Well, I just see it as like, here, let me give my backstory then. So I also live in Kansas City, except I didn't move here. I was born here, and I didn't move away from here. I'm still here.
Like a true loser.
Okay.
Ouch.
No.
Well, yeah, so same story, though. We went to high school together. Adam, you and I met through band. You and I sat next to each other in 8th grade band, both playing trumpet. And then around freshman or sophomore year, Andrew and Jesse got in the mix as well. I kind of forget how it all played out, but it was right around early high school that we all became pretty good friends.
I do too.
But anyway, then after I graduated, went to Northwest Missouri State, studied music education for a year, realized I made a mistake, and then switched my major to audio and video production. So I'm the one that is going to be editing all of these podcasts, which is great because I don't do anything audio anymore and I need that fix. So,
well, I'm glad we can provide it to you, Alec.
Yes, thank you. And Jesse, tell us your story.
Like toilets.
That's
that's accurate.
Yep. Okay, moving on.
No.
No. He had his chance.
All right, so I'm a Kansas City native. I was born and raised in Kansas City, like Alec. And
like a true loser.
Shut up.
Yeah. Shut up. That's 2 on. I guess it's Kansas City versus people from Virginia, technically.
I never thought of it that way.
Neither did I until just now. But regardless, I was born and raised in Kansas City. I met you all, like everybody said, in high school, or excuse me, earlier than high school. We met in like 7th and 8th grade. All of us did.
Yeah, my first memory of any of you guys was vividly Jesse in middle school and not liking you, but keep going.
Yes, I remember. I played trombone in band, and we all met in band. Andrew played saxophone, and Adam and Alec played trumpet. So I became friends first with Adam and Alec, and then by association to them, Andrew. And then we went to college went to high school. We're friends there. We were all drum majors. Except for
Alec.
Yes. I forgot we were drum majors, Andrew.
You did? Now I think about it every single day.
So Jesse was a drum major. Adam and Andrew were glorified section leaders.
No. Glorified section leaders.
What was Adam's title?
Drum major.
Yeah.
Alec, what was Adam's title?
I don't remember.
It was assistant
He's
brass
consistently
drum major.
forgot that.
Yeah. And mine was assistant woodwind drum major.
If I was next to you, Andrew, I'd high five you.
I've wanted to high five you a lot during this conversation, from the Virginia stuff and calling them nerds to this drum major talk.
Can I tell you guys what BS that was though? That all happened. I didn't get drum major, which, not to take that away from you, Jesse, because you deserved it. You were good and you deserved the position. But afterwards, Dr. Miller pulled me aside and was like, hey, I just want to explain to you that part of the reason you didn't get it is because we can't, afford to not have all of our trumpets on field. We don't have enough trumpets. You're one of the good ones. We need to keep you on the field. And then Adam gets the semi drum major position.
No, I was a full drum major.
Yeah,
honestly, it was the same thing as senior year, like that last concert when we're all getting our awards and stuff.
Uh-huh. Oh my God, yes.
Adam.
I got about every other award. Probably every award.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone, I was first chair for the first time ever. Adam had always been ahead of me, and then senior year, I finally pulled ahead. I was
you were better than me.
And yeah, thank you. I felt like I had fought hard to get there, and I thought that that's what I was doing with my life. So it was a big accomplishment. Then at the end of the year, we're getting all the awards. Adam gets one, and everyone claps. It's like, okay, yeah, Adam's good. He deserves that. A few other people got some awards. Then Adam got a second one. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird because I don't have one. I definitely should have got one. People are looking around, looking at me like, why is Alec not getting one? Why does Adam have two? People looked at me like, wow, that sucks. Like they were giving me these like pity looks. And I was like, no, it's okay. I've got one coming. I know the next one's going to be me. Then Adam gets a third award. I don't even remember what these were, but everyone is looking at me like, oh my God, I can't believe how sad this is. And then everyone was like giving me these like sympathy looks, except for Adam, who comes over, pulls a second stand up and is like, oh, I just don't have enough room for all my awards. And he started piling them up right in front of me. And I got one, which was supposed to be like the big one, but
also
still
more than I got for the record, but
I got one or two, I don't remember, but I got something for jazz band and one for marching band or something like that.
I don't even remember
It's
what
a
awards
piece of
I got.
paper, dude.
I don't either.
Like,
The
at
only
at the
award
same
I
time.
needed was friendship with you guys, and I still have that. So
God, that's the worst award.
Actually, I do want to kind of point out, though, that this is kind of cool that Adam, I feel like you were the common denominator about like all of us like becoming friends, because, you know, you and I started hanging out in middle school, and then you and Jesse started hanging out in middle school, and then you and Andrew started hanging out and kind of brought it all together. And so it's kind of cool thinking about that now with this podcast being your idea that you wanted to start doing this, which I really think has definitely made us, you know, set aside the time to talk to each other more and keep in touch better, which I feel like we weren't bad at, but it just wasn't as much.
We definitely lost that, you know, especially through the latter years of college.
I mean, it wasn't gone completely, but it was pretty much just a sporadic snap or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I guess like freshman year and maybe the better part of sophomore, you know, we would go on Skype with the boys, you know, for an hour or whatever on the weekend.
The boys.
With the boys. But yeah, no, I like, I guess we'll go into like, what does millennial malarkey mean to you? And
wait. I never got to tell him about my college.
Yes, because yeah, fair enough. Okay, go ahead, finish before we
just
move
quick,
on.
Quick 10 second. Okay, so I went to high school with these guys, and then I went to Missouri S&T where I got a degree in ceramic engineering, and that basically to everybody in this podcast means toilets and tiles. To me, that means I work on rocket components and nuclear components that need to be really techy. I'm a materials engineer, basically.
So dude, you're pushing 10 seconds.
That's all I want to say.
Also, I'd like to clarify that to everyone in this group, it means toilets. It does not also mean tiles.
Yeah, I think he thought he was explaining it, but all I heard was a toilet flushing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, ceramics and toilets. Yeah,
so I'm working on my master's. It's a thesis based, and I will possibly be pursuing a PhD. We will see. But Adam is the one who has successfully gotten through his master's at this point.
And yeah, so in all fairness too, we definitely give Jesse a lot of crap about that, but
no pun intended.
Shut up! Oh my god!
I am not, you know, shy about saying that like all three of you were like so much smarter than me. So Jesse, yeah, I give you crap about that, but I do acknowledge that you are a genius and much smarter than me.
That might be generous.
Yeah, he is.
At least I'm not a narcolepsy. Dude.
Jesse, I just talked you up talking about how smart you are, and then you call him a narcolepsy dude.
I'm an engineer. I can't word well. It hard.
Right.
Yeah, so am I.
Shut up.
Anyway, so
what does millennial malarkey mean to you, Adam? Why don't you start us off?
So when I envision millennial malarkey, I've always wanted to do a podcast because, you know, podcasts are cool. They seem fun. But like, you know, doing through all of our test podcasts, you know, I realized like millennial malarkey is just a way, you know, for me to hang out with my best friends, you guys, like I would say like my first true friends, you know, the ones that are there through the thick and thin, because we've been friends for how long? 9 years?
Did you just go when you thought
about
it?
As a group, 9 years.
I think
8 years.
Yeah. A long time. Almost half my lifetime, kind of. Almost.
Over? No,
you're old.
Almost. Not over.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. 23, so almost, kind of.
Sort of, maybe.
Yeah, regardless, like, I also see this podcast as a platform, you know, to, like, voice our opinions about, you know, certain topics and subjects. And as well as also a way to have fun while doing it, because I honestly thoroughly enjoy our banter together.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, did anybody else answer that question, or is it just me?
Well, okay, so
Figured we'd start with you since this is your brainchild.
It basically is, yeah. So when you Google the definition of malarkey, it shows you meaningless talk or nonsense, which kind of I think goes against your idea of it, you know, letting us like talk about like important topics and stuff like that, because malarkey means nothing, like literally means nothing important.
But at the same time, if you had a conversation with me, I think that's a pretty apt description.
Basically.
Have you had a conversation with some other millennials?
I mean, if you've made it this far into the podcast and don't think our banter is malarkey, then I think you're crazy.
Yes. But I don't know. I do like the idea of like us getting to just like talk, and I don't know. To me, really, this whole podcast is just a way to, keep us in touch, kind of like an accountability factor that'll keep us, talking to each other, which not that it was forced before, but it just wasn't happening as much. Mm-hmm. So I'm very on board with this podcast.
So wait, I realize 100%, and I'm not trying to like dethrone the podcast here. I realize 100% that we are millennials, but do you really feel like a millennial? Like when people in the news say, oh, millennials are doing this. Do you feel like a millennial, or do you feel like whatever was before us?
We are for sure millennials?
We are for sure millennials. We are the tail end. 1996 or 7, I believe, is the cutoff year.
Yeah.
And everything after that is the, what do they call them? Gen Z baby. Yeah, Gen Z babies.
Right.
We all remember 9/11.
Those are the ones who eat. Yes,
yeah.
We all remember 9/11. Yeah. Gen Z
Never
babies
forget.
are the one who eat Tide Pods. And like, granted, okay, we shove cinnamon in our mouths in a giant spoon, but like they eat Tide Pods. Okay, that's worse.
That's an interesting thing, though, is that like every single generation talks crap on the generation below them, or any generation below them. Like that's just the way it goes. Is that as soon as you reach like a higher point of maturity, you look down on the people that haven't hit that point yet. That's literally been happening for thousands of years.
Yeah, exactly. Like stupid freshmen back at school. I'm a super senior, aka second year master's student, getting ready to write my papers. Here's dumb little freshmen taking up my parking spots.
The parking spots you deserve. Absolutely.
Not
Jesse.
the one I needed, but the one I deserved.
I'm pretty sure you can challenge them for those spots, like trial by combat.
Just like pick up their cars and just drag them out of the way.
Something like that. No, when I was looking like at the definition of millennials, obviously it depends on who you ask is who a millennial is. Like what I've written down. So the United States Chamber of Commerce uses 1980 to 1999. In a news release from the United States Census Bureau, they use 1982 to 2000. The Resolution Foundation uses 1980 to 1996. Oxford Living Dictionaries describes a millennial as a person reaching young adulthood in the early 21st century. So it really honestly depends on who you ask. But I mean, I guess it's one of those things that like people don't know that they're living it, in the moment.
Right.
Everything gets defined in the future. Right.
Of
like
course.
the people during World War I, thought it was the Great War or the war to end all wars. Right. But fat chance.
Yeah.
Regardless, the general thing I found about millennials is that they're generally marked by their coming of age or, becoming an adult in like the information age, which is like the age of the internet, which I would definitely apply that definition to myself.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
Growing up in the like adolescent age of information of the internet.
I grew up with corded phones and a promise of a bright future and a house and a stable job. And as it went, I learned to adapt to wireless technology and a fluctuating economy and basically instability all throughout my life, because it's not just instability in like an economy sense or like in a market sense. It's instability in like technology is going to not look like the technology we currently know in the next 3 years. Well, it will, but there will be some kind of shift. And we are accustomed to shifting technology. Other generations have not been. They have not had such a rapid increase because of this, digitized age that we now live in. You called it internet age. It's interesting to not call an age by a material, because we have the wood age, stone age, iron age, stuff like that.
Well, I think the last age was like the Industrial Revolution. Am I wrong?
Which was that was the metal or iron age, iron age and bronze age already happened, but like that was referred to as industrial because of the metal that defined it. I
think it was more about like mass production of so many different things that could never have been mass produced before.
I'm with Alec on this one.
Yeah.
Interchangeable parts. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, I mean, definition of ages aside, I think we could all, sadly define ourselves as the tail end of the millennials.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fair enough. So I have in front of me a list of millennial stereotypes, and we're going to play a little game called True or Untrue.
Okay.
All right.
This is good for Andrew. He has 50% chance of winning.
Yeah, I know, right? So the first stereotype is millennials are often called the me generation.
That sounds like
true.
Gen Z.
That's true. Absolutely true.
Are we saying it's true that we're called that, or it's true that we are that?
It's true that we're called that.
I have not heard that, but I think it's accurate.
I want to say that's Gen Z, so I want to stay hopeful that that's not what people think about us.
Absolutely true.
Absolutely true. I think that was, I don't even know what it was true or untrue. It's just what people say. Hearsay, if you will. The me generation, personally, I think that is true.
Oh, I thought you had like answers in front of you and this was like a quiz.
No, this is just what people say about it.
Alec is still scarred from the last week when we answered GRE questions.
So we've been doing a few of these episodes as like trial runs kind of set up, and Adam asked us questions about like or they were from the, what was it, GRD?
GRE. Graduate Readiness Examination.
Yeah, and I did terrible.
Sorry, Graduate Record Exam. My bad. I don't want to mess it up again.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, anyways.
Look for that episode in the future. It will be somewhere down the line. Not sure.
Where?
We're making up it as we go.
See. All right, what's the next stereotype?
The next one. Millennials are unsatisfied with work.
I know that's true for me.
I think like anything, it depends on what work you're doing, but I think I would say it's true. It's just that I think millennials are taking a lot more jobs than they want to. I think that you just kind of have to accept that, most of us are at that stage in our life where you just have to work whatever you can to make whatever money you can, just as a result of the economy and how, early it is for us still in our careers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that even though I have an econ degree, I know nothing about the economy except for like supply equals demand, hashtag
oh my god,
slope or whatever. So I'm not going to take on that perspective because I don't know enough about history and all that. But I think with social media and stuff like that, there's a lot more exposure to seeing people do cool things and go skydiving or, play concerts or, whatever. And so everyone
all the
sees
Instagram models going to their yachts in Italy.
Yeah, all the flexing. And so, when that's all you see 24/7 on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, how could you want to go to work, let alone enjoy it while you're there when you see all these other people that, apparently have no jobs or anything like that, but just are living their life, living their best life. You know what I mean? So I think that's also a big part of it is kind of how social media's come into play here.
Fair enough. Jesse?
I like my work. I like what I do. I may be an exception, but I still think there's living proof all around me that I'm going to school with, I guess, all millennials, but people our age, and I see people who are really excited about the things they do, and having been in a college atmosphere for going on 6 years now, as I just went straight into grad school, and I'm probably going to stay here for a couple more doing other stuff, that I see people all the time who just are head over heels for what they do. But I think that's definitely not the norm, because I think going to college was, just because of the economy and everything, was not necessarily an option for everybody like it has been in the past, where after we got through the world wars and everything that happened after that, it became like a social norm that, oh, when you get older, you're going to go to college, or your parents are going to start saving up a little money for you to go to college, and then you'll go to college and it's going to cost practically nothing, but it's going to help you get a job and do whatever you need to in your life. And now here we are, that college costs stupid amounts of money, puts people in debt, and
well, I mean, like the inflation on college tuition is absolutely ridiculous.
Ridiculous, and it
The
gets worse
overall
every
student
year.
debt is over $1 trillion now.
Yes, and so like
That's
with
so
all of
much.
that, yeah, with all that happening, you know, if you don't find what you like right off the bat, you know, I mean, college dropouts are a thing, then it's hard to, you know, align yourself and say that, oh, I like work, because, you know, it's kind of I guess I'm lucky in that I really love what I do and that I care about it and have a passion for it. But I realize that that's not the case for everybody. And I'd say that absolutely, I see people being annoyed with work. Like, you walk and interact with people in your everyday lives that they may be happy at the time, but when they're working, it's just like, man, when do I get off the clock? I'm tired. I want to be done with this.
I think that, you know, we, all four of us, are super fortunate that we had the opportunity to go to college and to pursue something that we care about.
Right.
Because that ultimately is what leads to satisfaction with your work, or in your work. That, you know, no one's going to go and spend 4 years and spend however much money to get a degree in something they don't care about or something that they don't enjoy.
Ooh, but they might.
I think
Because
that
the parents.
People do that regardless.
Yeah, people do that all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that
I think now is the time when people
anything
will
we talk about,
fight
we have
that.
to, you know, keep in mind that we are 4 straight, white, upper middle class guys.
Are we sure all of us are straight?
Well, okay, Andrew's questionable, but as long as, you know.
And also, are we sure we're all white?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying that, you know, we're talking about this stuff like we can discuss every angle, every perspective, but you know, just based off of our lives, that we all, you know, kind of came up in pretty similar settings. You know, it's hard to, you know, make blanket statements about this kind of stuff.
Sure.
This is all very true, but I totally agree. It's a good disclaimer, you know, but it's all opinionated, right?
Yes.
You know, there's no right answer to these questions.
And I think that, and even like with it being in regards to millennials, like I think that a lot of that stuff applies to everyone. You know, you can't just say like, oh, millennials are satisfied or unsatisfied with their work. You know, that applies to everyone and anyone who works.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe going back to social media, that's part of why millennials kind of get that brand more so than other people, because we're the ones that grew up with the technology. I mean, how many 40 or 50-year-olds or whatever the older generations, you know, are on Facebook or Twitter all the time tweeting about not liking their job or, you know, doing cool things or, you know, whatever. I mean, it's probably just that we're more publicly vocal than other ones because we grew up with that. And maybe we all have the kind of same dissatisfactions or whatever. Although I would argue that I think we're probably on the whole more dissatisfied just because of our exposure to, you know, more extravagant lifestyles.
Just unsatisfied with life in general instead of just work. I would totally agree with that, because you do have like the world at your fingertips, right? With your iPhone and your Samsung or, you know, what have you, or Google phones for the Jessies of the world.
That's me.
Okay, I do really love the idea of the Pixel. I just don't think that the hardware is there yet, but that's a whole other topic for a whole other episode. I could go on for hours about my opinions on tech, so we're going to not go into that.
We look forward to recording that episode.
You don't. You absolutely don't. I have very strong opinions that don't matter at all.
Tune in next week to hear Alec
rant
Google,
about Apple versus Android.
Splurge all over technology. I'm not sure.
Who knows?
I don't like that phrasing, but you know what? Let's go to the next story.
Because I would kind of ruin the technology.
Wait, what's the next one, Adam?
Right. The next one, millennials have a bad work ethic.
Mostly that's true.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard that from a lot of people.
I would say that's true. I'd say that's untrue. I think I mentioned it earlier. There's a lot of younger people that have just accepted that, you know, you aren't going to make the amount of money that you should, and that you really won't be given the same opportunities as, you know, the people that grew up like as Gen X or, you know, even baby boomers. Like, millennials on average are working a lot more for a lot less. And I don't know if that's not good work ethic.
Well, but does ours like
hours
this quantity
doesn't
and
necessarily
quality.
equate to does not equate to quality of the quantity of time
Like
they put in.
People might be working 2 jobs at, as an example, Walmart and Target or something, or not Walmart and Target, like McDonald's and Target to pay their bills, but they might be doing a subpar job at both.
That's fair.
So I had a scholarship that I took to college, and it was a scholarship that would provide you $8,000 over 8 semesters. So basically every year of a 4-year college degree, you got $2,000 from this company, which was great. But these people would come in and they would talk to you, and it was like a scholar thing or whatever is what it was called. And you would have to sit down and they would have meetings with you and kind of talk about, hey, what do you need? Are you struggling with anything? Can we connect you to somebody who can help you? We have people who are looking for these characteristics in potential applicants to jobs in the future. How can we breed that in a sense into people who are coming out of college and stuff like that? And one of the number one things that we heard every semester from these companies is that employers are having a tough time finding people who, it's the norm, obviously, but they are finding statistically increased percentages of people who don't want to come into work on time or are showing up late or have lackadaisical work behavior, just in kind of, separating how you behave at work versus how you behave at home. They kind of blur that line. And then in general, just people who don't want to work, who just kind of are grudgingly there. And I think one of the biggest things that we talked about most of the time was the work ethic thing, that, there were companies that this scholars thing would reach out to and partner with and be like, hey, here's some students that we have graduating. Would you like to take a look at them and see about giving one of them a job? And they're like, yes, absolutely. We know and have seen that your students are ready to work and that we're not going to waste our time investing in somebody who either doesn't want a job, doesn't want to work, or is lazy to, want the job, want the money, but not want to do the work. And so I think from my perspective and from everything that I've seen, that it seems like people don't want to do it and that they have a bad work ethic. And it's not rare, but it's becoming harder and harder to find.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's 95% of millennials have a terrible work ethic and 5% don't.
I'd say increased.
I think it's probably closer to a 50-50 split than that. I mean, not a 50-50 split, still probably, the majority with, worse work ethics or whatever. But I don't think it's as bad as people make it sound, but it's definitely, I think, noticeable.
And I think it goes back to the phone thing that everybody's been talking about tonight. It's we have more access to stuff, and you just feel like, what's the point? I can't get to this cool stuff right now. That's what I want to do. Everything else sucks. So why would I want to go do it?
I know that's exactly, as I mentioned, I got the degree that I got in the majors, that I studied, but I'm out in Nashville right now trying to be a rock star because, that's always been the dream. And I know that if I don't make it in music, I'd be very dissatisfied with life. So, I can definitely relate to that perspective on things because that's the only thing I'm passionate about. I could go to law school. I've got a good LSAT score. I, qualify for full tuition at a few really good universities. Yeah. I could do that. I could go to graduate school for physics or astrophysics or econ or whatever, but my heart's not in any of it. And so my interest in it all is exactly zero.
Right.
Fair enough.
Well, I think it comes back to then too, that it's not really about, the overall group of millennials. I think it just comes down to individual people and, different factors into how you grew up, especially the way our parents raised us. I think that, again, all 4 of us had a pretty similar setting in that regard. And it led to all of us, going to college and studying this stuff and having good work ethics. Because, you're definitely right. There's a lot of people out there that don't, but there's a lot of people that do. And I'm not sure that you can correlate it specifically to a generation.
Yeah, it's always really bad to generalize, any group of people to a specific characteristic or set of characteristics or, whatever. But
I never thought I'd hear Andrew say that.
I was going to say, careful, buddy. But
I'm not saying I'm going to ease up on some of the jokes I make, but
oh boy,
serious talk.
Maybe just when we're recording
that. But yeah, the cameras won't be rolling or microphones or whatever when those jokes happen.
Oh my God, stop.
Right. Let's do one more. I like these.
Yes.
Okay. Do one more quick one.
The most controversial one you have.
Boo, most controversial?
Yeah, fam.
Nah. We'll do
Millennials are killing the TV industry. Can cable survive? Tune in next time.
That's next week's episode. Regardless, millennials are obsessed with technology.
Yes.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. I think, but like you said, that's the information age. We were raised into it. And I'm going to use that as my excuse for, sitting here with my smartphone, my tablet, my smartwatch. We're connecting to each other through Skype, like on, Adam out in Virginia and then us in the middle of the country. Like, we are always absorbed into our technology. So I think yes.
Same.
That's true. I've definitely been snapping a few different people the entire time we've been recording this episode. So
it's hard not in anymore, Coach. No, but
I've been paying attention to this.
I know you have. I'm just giving you credit. Speaking as a guy who's looking at 3 screens with a glowy mouse and keyboard running on a gigantic PC, I'm tech driven. My smartphone's out. I'm listening with wireless everything. And my tablet's sitting over there just waiting to be used after this to FaceTime a friend. Like, we are driven for new tech, and we are running on tech all the time.
I think that part of that, though, is that since, we have the opportunity to be connected to other people all the time, we just choose to do it. Like, if we have the ability to, why not? And it's not like a selfish thing like a lot of the stereotypes make it out to be. I think that, if you're on your phone, you're texting or you're in contact with someone via, social media or whatever other platforms, it's always about connecting with people. And I think that we are just addicted to constantly,
constant stimulation.
Yeah. And from other people too, not just like, mindless, games like Candy Crush or something, but it has to be that connection to another person. And I don't think we are comfortable not having that 24/7.
Fair enough.
I'd probably agree with that.
I do too. Regardless, let's wrap it up with a would you rather question. So we'll start with Alec, Andrew, and then Jesse.
Cool. Okay.
So would you rather snort a tablespoon of cinnamon or contract a mild 1-week flu?
I'm going to have the mild 1-week flu because that's not on me. That's just something that happened. That's unfortunate. But I don't want to have to tell people like my nose is all messed up now because I snorted a tablespoon of cinnamon like that. I'd rather just be like, yeah, my immune system sucks and not, yeah, my brain sucks.
Fair enough. Andrew?
Cinnamon's an overrated spice. So I'm going to have to go with the flu. Nah, I mean, I get queasy with anything pertaining to my body. Like if I think about my belly button for too long, I start to become aware of it and then feel like I'm going to throw up or pass out. God. So if I'm, forcing some sort of foreign substance into my body in a direction that things are not supposed to go, I couldn't deal with that. So I would definitely take the flu.
All right.
Yeah, everything would smell weird for like the next week. So that's just almost as bad to me. Like breathing would be modified one way or another. Like your nose would be weird with the flu or if you snorted cinnamon. So I'm just going to take the mild flu because at least it doesn't sting when you do it. Yeah.
That was like a very engineer perspective.
Listen, and when I can't breathe, it sucks, okay? Being like allergic to pollen and everything, I hate being congested in my nose. So I'd rather not do it to myself. I'd rather just, make it feel weird in just like one nostril. I mean, even though the
one nostril life is the worst life you could possibly live.
It's awful. Yep. Like the flu is probably going to do it to you anyway, but at least I know with like snorting something, it's going to be bad in just the one. Versus with flu life, I maybe can like either have none or both. So
really, well, I'm going to go with snort a tablespoon of cinnamon.
Yeah, well, you're
and
wrong.
My reasoning is because every time I breathe, I want to smell Cinnabon.
I'm not sure that's how it works.
You need sugar, and you also need the bread and the icing for that.
Yeah, it'll smell like Cinnabon 24/7.
Cinnabon's literally just Wonder Bread with cinnamon and sugar and icing on it.
Basically,
Yeah.
but Adam's just going to shove sandwich materials up his nose after he snorts it.
Yep. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for tuning in. And catch us at our Twitter if you have any questions at Malarkey. That's MILL Malarkey. Anyway, have a good night, boys.
That's it. See you guys.
Peace out, boys.